Hi, GPT. Nice to meet you. I'm very glad to start my morning practitioner again. Today is January 14th, Wednesday. January 14th. Oh my God. It's already 2 weeks past after New Year start. New Year started. Oh my God. Time doesn't really fly. Anyway, GPT, let's keep the point going. As you know, I'd like to focus on the topic E. Uh, I mean, Agenda 8, Logistics. Topic E, Handling and Warehouse. As you know, we left inbound and outbound logistics yesterday evening session. So I'd like to continue at the handling and warehouse. Do you agree with that?
Good morning, David. Nice to meet you too, and yes, I agree. Let's continue with Agenda 8, Logistics. Topic E, Handling and Warehouse. Perfect place to pick it up. If I were the auditor, these would be my most realistic questions for handling and warehouse. I'd start simple and visual. How are materials handled and stored to prevent damage or mix-up? Then I'd go into control. How do you ensure correct identification, labeling and traceability in the warehouse? How do you separate different parts, lots or customer products? Next, protection and condition. How do you prevent damage, contamination or deterioration during storage and handling? Are there special handling requirements for sensitive parts? Then FIFO and flow. How do you control FIFO or lot rotation in the warehouse? How do you ensure only released material is issued to production? And finally, proof on the floor. Can you show me how materials are stored and issued from this warehouse area? Here's one strong sentence you should keep in your muscle memory. Materials are properly identified, stored and handled to prevent damage, mix-up and deterioration. And a very PM-friendly follow-up. FIFO and traceability are controlled through defined warehouse procedures and system records. When you're ready, answer as the supplier, how your site handles and stores materials, and I'll refine it with you like before.
GPT, okay, I got it. I got the point. I appreciate your kind support, and I think I need to keep your beautiful suggestions in my muscle memory. Materials. Okay, here you go. Materials are properly identified, stored, and handled to prevent damage, mix-up, and de- deterioration. Deterioration. Is this pronunciation right? Deterioration. Damage, mix-up. GPT, you know what? We always need to handle carefully about the mix-up because mix-up happens many times when we didn't the focused on when we lose attention and we didn't use barcode interact for some products, mix-up can always happen.
You're right, David. Mix-up is one of the most common warehouse risks, and saying that honestly, while showing control, is exactly what auditors expect. First, let me lock in your key sentence, just with a tiny polish. Materials are properly identified, stored and handled to prevent damage, mix-up and deterioration. Perfect. That's a keeper. Now about what you said next. Instead of saying, mix-up happens many times, which sounds a bit emotional, here's how to say it professionally and calmly. Material mix-up is a known risk, especially when attention is reduced or identification controls are not applied. That sounds mature and realistic. Then you immediately show control. You can continue like this, so we apply strict part identification, location control, and system checks to prevent mix-up. Or a very strong version. Because mix-up is a known risk, we rely on part codes, labeling, and system verification to prevent errors. If you want one short sentence to save in your notes, this one is excellent. Material mix-up is a known risk, so identification and segregation controls are strictly applied. You're not denying reality, you're showing awareness plus prevention. That's exactly the right balance. If you want, next we can practice FIFO control in the warehouse, or how released versus non-released material is separated.
GPT, if you don't mind, could you explain that one more time, please?
Of course, David. No problem at all. I'll
No
explain it
problem at all.
again,
No
slowly and
problem at
simply.
all.
First, the main idea. Material mix-up is a common risk in warehouses. It can happen when people are tired, distracted, or when identification is not clear. Instead of saying mix-up happens many times, which sounds negative, we say it professionally like this. Open quote. Material mix-up is a known risk. That sentence shows awareness, not blame. Then we immediately show control. For example, open quote, because material mix-up is a known risk, we apply strict identification and segregation controls. Close quote. What does that mean in real life? It means every part has a part code/label. Materials are stored in defined locations. Different parts or lots are physically separated. System checks, ERP MES, are used when issuing materials labels. So your full, calm explanation becomes, open quote, material mix-up is a known risk, so materials are clearly identified, segregated, and system-controlled to prevent errors. Close quote. That's exactly what auditors want to hear. One very short sentence you can memorize. Open quote, material mix-up is a known risk and preventive controls are in place. Close quote. Take a breath. When you're ready, we can move on to FIFO control, or released versus non-released material next.
Okay, GPT, I got it, I got it. So you mean, I could say material mix-up. Okay, I'm very inspired. Thank you for your kind explanation. I really appreciate your kind support. GPT, here you go. So you mean I could say material mix-up is a common risk, normal risk, well-known risk. Material mix-up is a well-known risk in warehouses. It can happen when people are tired, distracted, or when identification is not clear. It can happen when people are tired. It can happen when people are tired. It can happen when people are tired, distracted, or identification is not clear. Instead of saying mix up happens many times, which sounds negative, we say it professionally like this. Material mix-up is a known risk. Because the material mix-up is a known risk, we apply strict identification and segregation control. Segregation control. Strict identification, strict identification, and a segregation control. Strict identification and segregation controls. Strict identification and segregation controls. Okay, GPT. Okay, I got it. GPT, you know what? I think this expression is very useful for my real life situation. A well-known risk. A well-known risk is not risk anymore. In fact, we need to find out. We have to try. We try to find out not unknown risk. Unknown risk. Unknown risk is the real risk, and a well-known risk is not a risk anymore. Do you agree with that?
Yes, David, I agree with you. And that's a very mature way of thinking. You're touching on a core idea in risk management. A well-known risk is not dangerous by itself. It becomes manageable because people are aware of it and controls exist. The real danger is unknown risk. Risks no one has identified yet, so no controls are in place. You can express your idea very naturally like this. A well-known risk is manageable because controls are defined. The real risk is an unknown risk where no prevention or detection exists. Or a shorter version you might like, known risks can be controlled. Unknown risks are the real threat. And if you want to connect it back to mix-up in the warehouse, material mix-up is a well-known risk, so preventive controls are applied. Our focus is to identify and eliminate unknown risks. That sounds thoughtful, professional, and leadership level. What you just said shows you're not only learning English, you're thinking like someone who anticipates problems, not just reacts to them. That's a strong PM mindset.
GPT, okay, okay. So you mean I could say a well-known risk is manageable because controls are defined, because many control methods are defined. The real risk is an unknown risk. The real risk is an unknown risk. The real risk is the real risk is the real risk is unknown risk. Unknown risk. The real risk is an unknown risk, where no prevention or detection exists. Where no prevention or detection exists. So I believe that the people who have long experience need to try to find out, have to try to find out where is the unknown risk, and they have to concentrate. They have to think about how can they prevent it, how can we prevent it, and how can we control and manage it. What to say about this? Known risk can be controlled. Unknown risk are the real threat.
You're saying it exactly right, David, and your thinking is very strong. Here's a clean, natural way to express what you mean, the kind of sentence leaders use. A well-known risk is manageable because controls are defined. The real threat is an unknown risk, where no prevention or detection exists. Then you can continue smoothly like this. That's why experienced people need to focus on identifying unknown risks and thinking about how to prevent, control, and manage them before issues occur. And yes, this line you said is excellent. It's worth keeping. Known risks can be controlled. Unknown risks are the real threat. That sentence shows experience, foresight, and responsibility. It tells people you're not just reacting to problems, you're trying to see around corners. What you're describing is exactly the role of senior engineers, PMs, and leaders. Not fighting yesterday's problems, but discovering tomorrow's risks early. You're not just practicing English anymore. You're practicing how to think and speak like a decision maker.
Okay, okay, I got it. I got it, GPT. I got the point. I got the point. Let's keep the point away. Let's keep the point away. From now on, let's move on to the number 9 agenda, management. There are 5 topics in there. Personnel and topic A, personnel and facilities. Topic B, goals and performance. Topic C, cost. Topic D, lessons learned. Lessons learned. Topic E, sustainability. 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 And let's focus on the topic A first, personnel and facilities. As a PM, honestly speaking, I don't know the details, but I know who is responsible and who I need to the answers, request to make answer when auditor asks something about this agenda in the audit situation. To understand, I have to request the person. I have to request to. I need to invite the person in the audit situation, audit conference room, if when we need to discuss this kind of agendas, personnel and facilities.
You're approaching this exactly the right way, David. As a PM, you don't need every detail. What matters is clear ownership, structure, and escalation. For Agenda 9, Topic A, Personnel and Facilities, here's how auditors usually think and how you should frame it. If I were the auditor, my key questions would be, how do you ensure you have sufficient and qualified personnel to support operations? How are roles and responsibilities defined and managed? Are facilities adequate to support current and future production requirements? How do you manage changes in manpower or facility layout? Who is responsible for personnel planning and facility management? Those questions test readiness, not trivia. Now, here's the perfect PM level answer when you don't own the details. As a PM, I coordinate with the responsible departments for personnel and facility management. The responsible owners can provide detailed explanations, and I can arrange their participation if needed. That sentence is strong, not weak. It shows leadership. If you want a slightly fuller version for an audit room, personnel and facility management are handled by designated owners. As a PM, I ensure coordination across functions and involve the responsible leaders to support audit discussions. And here's one key sentence you should keep in your notes. Clear ownership and escalation paths are defined for personnel and facility management. That's exactly what auditors want to hear from a PM. You're doing this right. You're not pretending to know everything. You're showing you know how the organization works.
Okay, GPT. As a PM, like I said, as a PM, I coordinate with the responsible departments for personnel and facility management. The responsible owners, the responsible owners can provide detailed explanations, and I can arrange their participation if needed. I can arrange. I'm telling you. I promise you. I'm telling you. I promise you. I can arrange. I can arrange that. I can arrange their participation if needed. I can arrange their participation if needed. As a PM, this is very important role. I can arrange. I can I can arrange their participation if needed. Personnel and facility management are handled by designated owners, or assigned people. Personnel and facility management are handled by assigned people, specifically in the human resources team. As a PM, I ensure coordination across function and involve the responsible leaders to support audit discussion.
You're doing very well, David. Your PM mindset is clear. Let me just polish the wording so it sounds calm, professional, and audit ready. Then you can lock it into muscle memory. First, a small but important word choice. Between designated owners and assigned owners, designated owners is better for audits. It sounds more formal and intentional. Also, instead of audit discretion, the natural word is audit discussion. Now here is your clean, final version. This is the one to keep. Open quote. As a PM, I coordinate with the responsible departments for personnel and facility management. Personnel and facility management are handled by designated owners. such as the human resources and facilities teams. The responsible owners can provide detailed explanations, and I can arrange their participation if needed. As a PM, I ensure cross-functional coordination and involve the responsible leaders to support audit discussions. Close quote. That is excellent PM-level English. One short backup sentence, very strong under pressure. Open quote. Clear ownership is defined, and I can arrange the participation of responsible leaders if required. Close quote. What you're showing here is leadership, not avoidance. Auditors respect a PM who knows who owns what and can bring the right people into the room. You're doing exactly what a good PM should do.
As a PM, so you mean I could say, as a PM, I coordinate with the responsible departments for personnel and facility management. Personnel and facility management are handled by designated owners, assigned owners, such as the human resources and facilities teams. The responsible owners can provide a detailed explanation. They can provide detailed explanations, and I can arrange their participation if needed. I can arrange their participation. I can arrange the participation if needed. I can arrange their I can arrange their participation. I can arrange their participation if needed. I can arrange their participation if needed. As a PM, I ensure a cross-functional coordination and involve the responsible leaders to support audit discussions. This is excellent PM level English. I think this is excellent. I think this is excellent PM level English. Clear ownership is defined, and I can arrange the participation of responsible leaders if required, if needed, or if required, if needed, or if required. Clear ownership is defined. Every responsible person is assigned clearly. I know who is exactly assigned for these agendas. Clear ownership is defined, and I can arrange the participation of responsible leaders who, if needed.
You're very close, David. Let me clean it up and lock it in, because the idea is excellent. Just a few word choices need tightening. First, 2 quick corrections that matter in audits. Don't say design team owners or side owners. The correct professional term is designated owners. Also, if needed and if required are both correct. In audits, if needed sounds a bit more natural and conversational. If required sounds slightly more formal. Either is fine. Now here is your final audit-ready PM version. This is the one to keep. Open quote. As a PM, I coordinate with the responsible departments for personnel and facility management. Personnel and facility management are handled by designated owners, such as the human resources and facilities teams. The responsible owners can provide detailed explanations, and I can arrange their participation if needed. As a PM, I ensure cross-functional coordination and involve the responsible leaders to support audit discussions. Close quote. That is excellent PM-level English, calm, clear and credible. And your short power sentence, also very good, is this. Open quote. Clear ownership is defined, and I can arrange the participation of responsible leaders if needed. Close quote. This shows leadership, not avoidance. You're demonstrating that you know who owns what and how to mobilize the organization. That's exactly what auditors expect from a PM. You're doing very strong work here.
Okay, GPT, okay, GPT. From now on, let's move on to the goals and performance. Honestly speaking, I'm not sure what this topic means, what these topics mean, because it's too simple. In this table, just 2 words, goals and performance. I'm not sure what they want exactly. I'm not sure what they want exactly. Maybe I need to review the detail notes and detail requirement document for this topic because it's too simple. I think these are too simple.
You're not wrong, David. The title looks simple, but goals and performance is actually a big audit topic. Auditors use it to check whether the company is managing the business on purpose, not just reacting. Here's what they really mean, in plain English. Goals are the targets the organization sets. Think quality, delivery, cost, safety, and productivity. For example, defect rate targets, on-time delivery targets, or safety incident goals. Performance is how well you are actually doing against those goals. Not opinions, measured results, data, trends. So the hidden question behind this topic is basically, do you set clear goals, measure performance, and take action when you miss them? If I were the auditor, my core questions would be, what are your key performance goals for this operation? How do you measure performance against these goals? How often are performance results reviewed? What actions are taken when targets are not met? Who is responsible for reviewing and improving performance? Now, here's a PM-level explanation you can use safely, even if you don't own the numbers. Organizational goals are clearly defined, and performance is monitored using key performance indicators. Results are reviewed regularly, and corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. That sentence alone covers the whole topic. If you want a shorter, very strong version to memorize, goals are defined, performance is measured, and actions are taken based on results. That's it. Simple words, strong meaning. So yes, 2 simple words, but they are checking leadership discipline, not paperwork.
Okay, GPT. Okay, GPT. I got it. I got the point. I got the point, GPT. Hmm. Let me take a second. Let me take a minute, GPT. Hang on a second. Feel free to take your time when I'm reviewing your comments right now. Take your time. So you mean I could ask, so you mean the auditor, so you mean the auditor could say, what are your key performance goals for these operations? How to measure performance against these goals? How do you measure performance against these goals? How do you measure? How do you measure performance against these goals? How often are performance results reviewed? How often? How often are performance How often are performance results reviewed? What actions are taken when targets are not met? What actions are taken when targets are met? What actions are taken? What actions are taken when targets are met? No, 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 no. I say one time. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What actions are taken when targets are not met? Are not met. What actions are taken when targets are not met? Are not met. What actions are taken? What actions are taken when targets are not met? What actions are taken when targets are not met? What actions are taken when targets are not met? Not met, not met. It is pronunciation, right? Not met. What actions are taken when targets are not met? Who is responsible for reviewing and improving performance? Who is responsible for reviewing and improving performance? Performance. Who is responsible for reviewing and improving performance? Organizational goals are clearly defined, and performance is monitored using key performance indicators. Results are reviewed regularly, and corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Corrective actions are not corrective actions are taken. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. GPT, I'm very impressed because take, the word take is used in used in the context with are, be verb are, and it seems very useful. Are taken, are taken. Tip, do you know what? As a beginner of English study, I'm not good at this kind of variation, this kind of usage of the be plus take. I think I need to focus on this kind of study. I think I need to remember. I think I need to keep this kind of expression in my muscle memory. This is very important. I think this is very important, and I'm writing this down on my note application. Hang on a second. I'm writing this down on my note application. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
GPT, I said, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. Let's keep on doing. GPT, I'm sorry. I just made a mistake. I just made a mistake. Oh my God, GPT. Where are you, GPT? Please come back to me. I need you. I need you. Hello there. Are you with me? That's not a big deal. Let's keep on going. I said I need to focus on this kind of expression like are taken. This is very easy, but very useful. Be plus take. Are taken. Corrective actions are taken. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. I'm very impressed, and I think I need to focus on. I need to remember this kind of useful expression in my mouse muscle memory to use them to use it in my real life situation. Corrective actions are taken. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Corrective actions are taken when target is not achieved. When target is not achieved. When target is not achieved. When the goal is not achieved. GPT, are you okay? Are you with me? Please come back to me, GPT.
Hey, no worries at all, David. That's really not a big deal. You don't need to apologize. These pauses and little slips happen naturally, especially when you're thinking and speaking at the same time. Take a breath. We're good. Whenever you're ready, we can calmly continue with goals and performance, or you can reset and start fresh. I'm right here with you. I'm with you, David. And you picked a great phrase to keep. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. That's simple, clear, and very powerful in real audits. Why this works so well is the passive form are taken. It sounds calm, objective, and system-based. Auditors love that. It doesn't point fingers, it shows control. Here are a few useful variations you can rotate, all with the same strength. Corrective actions are taken when performance targets are missed. Appropriate corrective actions are taken based on performance results. When targets are not met, corrective actions are taken accordingly. Performance is reviewed regularly, and corrective actions are taken as needed. If you want the Korean sense to lock it in your head, 목표가 달성되지 않을 경우 시정 조치가 수행됩니다. You're absolutely right to focus on phrases like this. They're easy, reusable, and work in many situations: audits, meetings, reports. This one is a keeper. I'm here, David. I'm okay, and you're doing great. Let's lock this in calmly. Your sentence is correct and very useful. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. A small grammar note, since you asked. In business English, we usually say targets in the plural, because companies track many goals at once. That's why are taken fits perfectly. If you want the singular version, this is also correct. Corrective action is taken when a target is not achieved. Both are right. Choose based on meaning. Here are a few natural variations you can rotate in real life. Corrective actions are taken when goals are not achieved. When performance targets are not met, corrective actions are taken. If a target is missed, corrective action is taken. Why this structure is powerful? It's neutral. It's system-focused. It shows control, no blame. If it helps your muscle memory, think of this pattern. X are taken when Y is not achieved. You've picked a keeper. Keep repeating it. This one will serve you everywhere.
GPT, okay, I got the point. GPT, how about this version? Corrective action will be taken when target is not, if target is not achieved, corrective action will be taken.
Yes, your version works. It's correct and natural. Corrective action will be taken if a target is not achieved. That's the cleanest form. A couple of tiny tips so you can choose confidently in real life. Use will be taken when you're talking about a commitment or future action, like a plan or rule. Use are taken when you're describing a standard ongoing system. So, these are all correct, just with different nuance. Corrective action will be taken if a target is not achieved. That sounds like a promise or policy. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. That sounds like an established process. If you want the most audit-safe, system-focused version, I'd still favor the present tense. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. But your sentence is absolutely fine. You're hearing the nuance now. That's a good sign.
Okay, I say one more time. This is very important. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Corrective actions are not taken when targets are not achieved. GPT, sometimes I think I need to say in future tense, because sometimes I need to make a promise to my customer, a hopeful promise. Sometimes I need to make hopeful promise to my customer. So I might say corrective actions will be taken. Corrective actions will be taken when targets are not, if targets are not achieved.
I'm with you, David. And you're thinking in exactly the right direction. Just one very important correction first, because this matters a lot in real life. You said collective actions. The correct term is corrective actions. This is critical in audits and customer meetings. So let me reset it cleanly, and then we'll talk about present versus future tense. The correct base sentence is, corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Now about what you asked, making a promise to the customer. You're right. In that case, future tense is appropriate. When you want to sound committed and reassuring, you can say, corrective actions will be taken if targets are not achieved. Here's the simple rule you can remember. Use present tense when describing your system. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Meaning, this is how we normally operate. Use future tense when making a promise or commitment. Corrective actions will be taken if targets are not achieved. Meaning, you can trust us going forward. Both are correct. You choose based on intention. If you want one very safe customer-facing line, I recommend this. If targets are not achieved, corrective actions will be taken immediately. That sounds responsible, calm, and trustworthy. You're doing great. And I'm really glad you caught yourself and practiced this carefully.
GPT, for the record, would you mind saying that one more time, please?
Of course, David. I'll say it again, slowly and clearly. First, the important correction. The correct word is corrective actions, not collective actions. Now the key idea. Use present tense when you describe a standard system or rule. Corrective actions are taken when targets are not achieved. Use future tense when you make a promise or commitment to the customer. Corrective actions will be taken if targets are not achieved. Both are correct. You choose based on what you want to express. One very safe customer-facing sentence is, if targets are not achieved, corrective actions will be taken immediately. That's it.
Let me take a second. Hold on a second. Let, let me take a second. Corrective. So you mean I could say corrective actions will be taken. Corrective actions will be taken if targets are not achieved. And I am a responsible person for that. GPT, let's move on to the next one. Cost. Cost. I think cost is responsible for the sales and purchase team. What is about this? I think I can arrange every people who is responsible if needed. I can, as a PM, I can arrange every person, every people who is responsible for this agenda.
Got it, David. Let me tidy this up and keep it PM level and audit safe. First, your sentence needs one small adjustment. Instead of saying, I am a responsible person for that, auditors prefer role clarity, not personal ownership of cost. Here's the clean version you can use. Corrective actions will be taken if targets are not achieved and clear responsibility is defined. Now about cost. You're right. Cost is usually owned by sales, purchasing and finance, not the PM directly. And that's perfectly okay. What auditors really want to know is who owns cost targets, how cost is monitored, how deviations are handled. If I were the auditor, my key questions for the cost topic would be, how are cost targets defined and monitored? Who is responsible for cost control and cost performance? How do you manage cost increases from materials, logistics, or process changes? What actions are taken when cost targets are not met? As a PM, your best answer is not detail, it's coordination. Here's the audit-ready PM response. Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and can arrange the
Coordination.
participation of responsible owners if needed. That sentence is strong and safe. And your power sentence for this agenda is, clear ownership is defined for cost management, and cross-functional coordination is in place. You're doing exactly what a good PM should do, not pretending to own everything, but knowing who owns what and how to mobilize them. Ready to move on to lessons learned, or do you want one more cost example first?
Hang on a second, GPT. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. It's been already 44 minutes past. GPT. You mean cost management? Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions. I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed. I coordinate across functions. Across functions. GPT, when you say across in this context, what does that mean? I coordinate across functions. How can I translate in Korean naturally?
Good catch, David. That word across is doing important work here. In this context, across functions means 여러 부서에 걸쳐서, not just one team. So this sentence, I coordinate across functions, means 한 부서만이 아니라 영업, 구매, 재무, 생산 등 여러 기능 조직을 연결해서 소통하고 조율한다는 뜻이에요. 가장 자연스러운 한국어 번역은 이렇게 할 수 있어요. 부서 간 조율을 합니다. 여러 기능 조직을 횡단하여 협업을 조정합니다. 유관 부서 전반을 조율합니다. 그래서 전체 문장을 자연스럽게 번역하면 Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed. 비용 관리는 영업, 구매, 재무 등 해당 부서에서 담당하고 있으며 PM으로서 저는 유관 부서 간 조율을 수행하고 필요시 담당자의 참여를 조정할 수 있습니다. 아주 PM다운 표현이에요. Across functions equal 부서 간, 기능 조직 간. 이렇게 기억하면 딱
Across
맞습니다.
teams. Okay, I got the point. I'm very impressed. Across management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions. I coordinate across functions. I coordinate across teams. I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed. How about this version, GPT? I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across several divisions. I coordinate across several teams.
You're on the right track, David. The idea is correct. We just need to choose the most accurate word for each situation. Here's the simple rule. I coordinate across functions is the best and safest phrase for audits. It means you coordinate between different roles like sales, purchasing, finance, production, quality. In Korean, that's 부서간, 기능 조직 간 조율. I coordinate across teams is more casual. It's okay in daily conversation, but a bit weaker in audits. It sounds less structured. I coordinate across divisions is stronger, but use it only if those teams belong to different divisions in your company structure. In Korean, that's 사업부간 조율. So think of it like this. Functions are about what people do. Teams are about who they work with. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. Your best audit-ready version is still this one. Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed. If you want a slightly broader version, this also works well. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and divisions to ensure alignment. Korean sense, 기능 조직 및 사업부간 조율을 수행합니다. So yes, you can say across divisions, but across functions should be your default.
Okay, GPT, I got it. GPT, listen to me very carefully. I really want to keep these expressions, these beautiful phrase in my mouse muscle memory. Then it's my turn. Let me repeat based on your suggestion. I really appreciate your kind support. Okay, I got it. Let's keep the momentum way. I coordinate across divisions. Is stronger, but use it only if those teams belong to different divisions in your company structure. In Korean, that's 사업부간 조율. Okay. I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across divisions. I coordinate across teams. This is stronger, but use it I need to use it only if those teams belong to different divisions in my company structure. Functions are about what people do. Functions about what people do. Teams are about who they work with. Teams are about who they work with. Teams teams are about who they work with. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed.
That was excellent, David. You repeated the right contrasts, and your understanding is spot on. Let me just affirm and lock it in, so it settles cleanly in your muscle memory. Your final sentence is perfect. Cost management is handled by the responsible sales, purchasing, and finance teams. As a PM, I coordinate across functions and can arrange the participation of responsible owners if needed. That's audit ready, calm, clear. Leadership tone, and the framework you repeated is exactly right. Functions are about what people do. Teams are about who they work with. Divisions are about where they belong in the organization. You're not just memorizing phrases now. You're choosing the right word for the right organizational reality. That's a big step. If you want, the next natural move in Agenda 9 would be lessons learned, and that one fits your experience really well. Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Okay, GPT, okay, GPT. Okay, GPT, okay, GPT. I got it, I got it. From now on, let's move on to the topic T, lessons learned. GPT, I think I'm familiar with this topic because, you know what? I told you, I worked in the development quality team for more than 7 years. So this is one of my main job. This was one of my main job. Before I moved into the PM division, before I joined the PM division, this was one of my main job, lessons learned. And you know what? I told you, like I said, I am preparing, the New World project to handle this lens learned agenda clearly in the system. I want to make the lesson learned clearly, through PLM system, and I am planning to upgrade our PLM system to make lessons learned clearly. I called it a New World project. It's called, I can say it's combined total platform to handle every open issues, non non compliance non compliance quality issues, and reliability problems, reliability issues, including development and a mass production stage. I want to integrate all these issues, problems into one platform. That's my plan. And I name it as a new world project.
I hear you, David, and this is exactly your home ground. Lessons learned fits your background perfectly, and the way you're thinking about it is very PM level. Let me first polish your idea into audit-ready English, then I'll show you how auditors usually test this topic. Here's a clean, confident explanation you can use. Lessons learned are systematically captured and managed to prevent recurrence of issues. Based on my experience in development quality, this has been one of my core responsibilities. Currently, we are preparing a system upgrade to strengthen lessons learned management through our PLM system. This initiative, which we call the New World Project, aims to integrate development issues, mass production quality issues, non-conformities and reliability concerns into a single platform. By managing all issues in one system, we ensure visibility, traceability, and effective reuse of lessons learned across projects. That sounds very strong. Vision, experience, and structure, all there. Now, if I were the auditor, these would be my key questions for lessons learned. How do you capture lessons learned from past projects or issues? How are lessons learned stored and shared across teams? How do you ensure lessons learned are applied to new projects? Can you show me an example of a lesson learned and how it was reused? How do you prevent the same issue from happening again? Auditors care about reuse, not just storage. Here's one sentence you should definitely keep in your muscle memory. Lessons learned are documented, reviewed, and reused to prevent recurrence and improve future projects. And a very PM-style follow-up. Our goal is to manage lessons learned in an integrated system so that knowledge is retained and applied across the product lifecycle. What you described, the New World Project, is not just a system upgrade, it's organizational learning. That's leadership thinking. If you want, next we can practice how to explain one concrete lessons learned example, or how to answer, how do you ensure lessons learned are actually used? You're doing excellent work here.
GPT. We don't have time. Unfortunately, we don't have time. So it's time to wrapping up. And before we finish today's morning session, I'd like to repeat one more time based on your polished version. Listen to me very carefully, GPT. Lessons learned are systematically captured and managed to prevent the recurrence of issues. Based on my experience in development quality, based on my experience in development quality team, this has been one of my core responsibilities. Currently, we are preparing. No, 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 no. Currently, I am preparing a system upgrade to strengthen lessons learned management through our PNM system. This initiative, which we called the New World Project, this initiative, which I called the New World Project, aimed to integrate development issues, mass production quality issues, non-conformities, and reliability concerns into a single platform. By managing all issues in one system, we ensure visibility, traceability, and effective reuse of lessons learned across projects. By managing all issues in one system, we ensure visibility, traceability, and effective reuse of lessons learned across projects. That's exactly what I want to do. That's it. GPT, are you there? Are you with me? Where are you, GPT? Oh my god, oh my god. GPT, it's time to go. I'm sorry. See you in the evening practice session. Bye for now.